Bridget Ghana in the county of Nakuru will be telling us the latest about the state of manufacturing. Bridget, good morning, and what do you have for us?
Good morning, Hudhaifa Aden. We are in the office of the county executive in charge of trade and industrialization. And a little bit of a history lesson. Nakuru was started or became what it is today because of the industries that were set up here when this town was becoming urban, because the history of this town, or Nakuru, in a sense, it was a white highlands that was developed through agriculture, and still agriculture remains one of the key pillars of the economy of this county. But other than that, there were industries that did set up shop here and made Nakuru to be what it is. You remember the Pyrethrin industry, when the production of Pyrethrin in the country was at its peak, and it was one of the main foreign exchange earners for this country. The main extraction plant is here in Nakuru. It's still here. We've been following up on the efforts to revive the pyrethrum industry, because farmers decided to plant other crops that would give them income, because pyrethrum in a sense did fall off the charts in terms of being a key foreign exchange earner. And today we've decided to go indoors, inside the people or the persons who make Nakuru to be what it is in terms of doing business and in terms of the cost of doing business. We're talking about how we have seen some industries, like even the ever-ready, collapsing and closing shops. So today, the man in charge of this docket is Dr. Peter Ketienya. And thank you so much, Waziri, for joining us on such a short notice. You can just tell us, where are we in terms of reviving Nakuru's status as a main manufacturing hub in Kenya?
Thank you. I think in Nakuru, as you have mentioned, we had been the home of quite a number of industries, and it was unfortunate that a number of them faced some difficulties. Yes. But now, as we speak, we are on the road back to creating Nakuru as an industrial zone. As we speak, right now in Nakuru, we have 3 areas that we are promoting as industrial parks. Yes. And we are going to hold an investment conference that is now going to bring on board both local and international investors. Yes. We have the proposed textile city in Naivasha. We also have the Egerton Agri-City in Njoro. And those 2, we are marketing them as the anchor projects for the county. I think the government's initiative to try and promote issues of manufacturing, value addition in agriculture, issue of housing, issue of healthcare, will blend in well with what the county is currently doing. Because, for example, the Egerton Agri-City Park is going to be based on agriculture. How are we going to create value addition in the agricultural sector? And also, as you've mentioned, the governor has taken the issue of pyrethrum very seriously. And out of the 18 counties that are growing pyrethrum, the governor has initiated a comeback for pyrethrum. And as soon as the rainy season is here with us, we are going to now go into the fields and go to encourage farmers to come back and grow pyrethrum. Yes.
Maybe on the issue of pyrethrum, we have the industry has been liberalized, because initially it was a state-owned investment, but right now you've liberalized it, you've welcomed other partners. What is the main thing that ails the pyrethrum sector here, especially here in Nakuru County? Because we are talking about there's that reluctance for farmers to put the crop back. Is it the issue of the payments that maybe you're trying to work on, and how are you working towards reviving it? Because we've had instances where you've even planted the planting material for these farmers, but still they're not taking the crop back into the farm in the capacity that maybe would be enough for us to even start extracting pyrethrin at the main plant.
There were quite a number of issues, and one of the key ones was payment to farmers. Another issue that came up was in terms of technology and the machinery that was being used at pyrethrum board to be able to extract the pyrethrin. So there is need for a holistic look at how we are going to revive the pyrethrum growing as a business back again to the people of Nakuru County. And this is something, as I've said before, we are working closely with our relevant departments, the Department of Agriculture. As I've said, we are now trying to remobilize farmers. And the county is going to come up with a project in which we are going to support the farmers to actually regrow. Yes. Maybe if I can remind you, a few years back, pyrethrum was a cash crop for Kuresoi North, for Kuresoi South. Yes. And it was really a hard impact on the wananchi. So trying to regain that trust is now what we have given as our top priority.
You've mentioned about the textile city that is coming up in Naivasha, the industrial park, maybe more or less having an EPZ zone inland the country. Maybe can you just tell us in terms of horticulture, because we're also, Nakuru also boasts of having the numerous number of horticultural farms. We are exporting fresh cut flowers to the European Union on a daily basis, but you see there's the issue also of the working environment for those people working in the flower farms. There's the issue of also the pollution of the natural resources, Lake Naivasha and in its environs, because of the activities that are going on there, and also creating employment, because you're also dealing with a bulk of youth who are coming up in Nakuru County and its environs, who are looking up to you or the governor or the government rather, to create employment for them. So how is this industrial park in Naivasha, with all the issues withstanding, going to improve in terms of also the earning capacity of the residents of Nakuru?
As I have said earlier, this textile city is actually not even a county initiative. It was actually a flagship project within the national government. But we as the county have taken that initiative, partnering together with Kengen to be able now to kickstart this project. Once it takes off, it is going to create employment for a number of youth in Nakuru County. That is our first priority. There have been a number of issues raised in terms of the effluents that are being released into the lake. Those are issues that we are going to discuss with specifically the flower farm growers in Nakuru. As you are aware, the flower farms also generate quite a bit of employment for our youth. So there has to be give and take and an engagement with them. Because issues of environment, we can also not take for granted. I think we are seeing the effects on the climate as we speak now. There's been change in climate, so those are things that we are going to engage together with the flower farms. I've already had meetings with Oserian, who are one of the largest flower farms in Kenya, producing on average 1 million stems per day. So we are going to be in continuous engagement with them so that we see the best way we can be able to promote economic growth within the county. Yes.
Maybe Dr. Ketienya, on that issue again of horticultural farms, a while back, because of the political environment that we were coming out of or were in back last year, some of these flower farms decided to change venue, preferring Ethiopia and Uganda over Kenya. Have we been able to attract them in terms of attracting investment? What is the strategic plan of the county government to make sure that this county is the premier investment county when it comes to economic growth and improving the standard of this county? Remember, we are going to be elevated to a city status.
For most investors, two things are key for them. One is the cost of power, and two is availability of skilled labor. I think in terms of Nakuru County, we are lucky in that we have geothermal plants that are already here, that have already been mined, that are already productive. And we are going to engage with the national government so that we make Nakuru once again the premier choice for our investors. Yes. If we can be able to address the issue of power cost and address the issue of skilled labor, I can assure you the flower farms that are there now will remain here, and we're even going to attract other businesses to come to Nakuru County. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so Waziri, before I let you go, maybe we are a county that is expecting to be given about 9 billion in terms of our budgetary allocation. I don't know if the national government has decided to review that upwards or downwards, but in terms of our in the county, especially the CBD, we had the issue of hawkers and how they were a nuisance, and we are now seeing that there are some of them coming up towards the CBD. How are we going to ensure even the small scale traders also make a living? Because as much as we are targeting big investment, we also have to remember the small people who contribute to our daily economy.
I have been having discussions with the Hawkers Association, and we have made good progress with them. And it is them actually who even told me when we had our meetings that they do not want to come back to the center of the town, to the CBD. They want to be given an alternative place where they can be able to conduct their business. And we are looking at it in terms of the short term and also in terms of the long term. In terms of the short term, we had set up some markets within town where we were going to designate them. An example is Nasha Square and some business lanes. As we speak, there were some challenges in terms of the completion of the Nasha Square, but we have managed to resolve that issue, and we expect the contractor to be back on site and to finalize that work. In terms of long term, we are in engagements with Kenya Railways so that we can be able to lease some part of their land and set up a complex where we can be able now to house the hawkers and at least give them a place where they can be able to do business. I think for Nakuru County, we as the Ministry of Trade, what we want is to create an enabling environment for business to flourish in this county. And the hawkers are part of us. We are not looking down upon them. We want them to be part of the Nakuru economy. Yes.
I know I'm really pressing you, but my last question, as we look towards how long are we going to take before we are elevated into a city? And another thing, I wanted to find out in terms of the investment conference you'd mentioned that we are planning, when is it going to be taking place and who exactly, what kind of investments or investors are we looking for as we look towards bolstering our economy as a county?
Okay, in terms of the investment conference, we had planned to hold it in the month of April, but now unfortunately the devolution conference came in and on the specific days, so we have been forced to push ours backwards. So we are looking at the month of June, where we can now be able to have this investor conference. Basically what we want to do is we want to showcase Nakuru County, and we want to show both local and international investors what Nakuru has to offer. As I said earlier, the key things that investors are looking for, one is skilled labor, and that we have in Nakuru. The other is availability of cheap power. That we also have in Nakuru. So we want to now bring this out to the investors so that they can be able to come here and see. And it's not only in terms of the manufacturing aspect. Yes. We also want the local tourists and the international tourists to also come to Nakuru County. Yes. Nakuru County is the only county that has 4 national parks within its borders. Yes. Lake Nakuru, Lake Naivasha, Mount Longonot, and Hell's Gate. So we are working closely with KWS, we're working closely with Kenya Tourism Board, we're working closely with our local tourist agents, so that we can also come and appreciate some of the sites that we have. In fact, allow me to mention, we have a small Taj Mahal here in Nakuru County that many people don't know about. Okay. The Egerton Castle has a rich history, and it's something we should be able to market. So we are going to take a holistic approach. Much as we want investors to come, we also want tourists to come on board.
Yes. Thank you so much. Hudhaifa, you've just had a snippet of what Nakuru County has to offer from the man himself, the one who is in charge of trade, industrialization, I believe, tourism as well, Dr. Peter Ketienya, who says that it is time that this county starts seeing itself as an investment hub. And in the subsequent months, we will be having an investment forum that will be seeking to attract both local and international investors. Key thing being that Nakuru is the place to be in terms of having cheap energy, because manufacturing demands that the costs of production are at its lowest as possible, and also the availability of skilled labor. And from Dr. Ketienya, he has confirmed that this county has a deep wealth in terms of skilled labor. So when it comes to manufacturing, we are still not yet down in terms of the farms that did shut down, but we are still growing in terms of our agricultural industries, in terms of horticulture, in terms of the agro-city that is going to come up in Egerton, in Njoro, and also the textile processing zone that is anticipated to be set up in Naivasha. Hudhaifa.